Most people get this wrong when they try to start a company in Indonesia. They assume it is just paperwork, a quick registration, and they are ready to operate. But here's the truth, no one tells you. Indonesia is one of the most opportunity-rich markets in Asia, but the legal structure is strict, layered, and very process-driven. If you skip even one step, your company can get delayed for months or even rejected completely. So if you are planning to start a business in Indonesia in 2026, whether you are an investor, entrepreneur, or digital business owner, this video will guide you step by step in a very simple way. And here's the promise. By the end of this guide, you will understand exactly how to legally register a company in Indonesia, which business structure you should choose, what documents you need, how foreign ownership works, how taxation is set up, and how to actually start operating without breaking compliance rules. And I will keep everything simple, practical, and beginner-friendly, even if you have never registered a company before in any country. Now let's start immediately. The first thing you need to understand is that Indonesia does not use a single universal company model for everyone. The structure you choose depends on whether you are a local entrepreneur or a foreign investor. And this is where most people make their first mistake. So let's break it down clearly. If you are an Indonesian citizen, you typically register a local limited liability company called PTIT. But if you are a foreigner, you usually need something called PTPMA, which stands for Foreign-Owned Limited Liability Company. Now here's where it gets interesting. A PTPMA is the only legal way for foreigners to fully own and operate a business in Indonesia in most industries. But not all sectors are open. Some industries have restrictions, ownership limits, or special licensing requirements. So before you even register anything, you need to decide your business activity. Let's take a real example. Imagine Alex from the UK wants to open a digital marketing agency in Bali. That is usually allowed under a PTPMA structure. But if John from India wants to open a small retail shop in a restricted zone, he may face limitations or need a local partner depending on the sector rules. Now here's the problem most beginners face. They rush into company registration without checking business classification rules. Indonesia uses something called KBLI codes. These are industry classification codes that determine what your company is legally allowed to do. So step 1 is always the same. Define your business activity and match it with the correct KBLI code. Now let's move to step 2, which is choosing your company structure properly. For foreigners again, PTPMA is the standard route. But here's something important. Indonesia has updated its investment rules in recent years, and in many cases, you need to meet a minimum investment threshold. Traditionally, PTPMA companies are expected to have a large declared investment plan, often around 10 billion IDR total project value, though actual paid-up capital rules can vary depending on sector and risk level. This does not always mean you deposit all money immediately, but you must declare a realistic business scale. Now here's where it gets interesting. Many people think this means Indonesia is only for big companies. That is not true. The system is designed to encourage serious investors, but small and medium foreign businesses can still enter through the right structure and planning. Next step is name reservation. You cannot just pick any name and start operating. Your company name must be approved by the Ministry of Law and Human Rights system. The name must be unique, not offensive, and comply with naming rules. Usually you propose 3 name options. Let's say you want to start a company called Bali Growth Studio. You submit variations like Bali Growth Studio, Bali Growth Creative, or Growth Studio Indonesia. The system checks availability and approves one. Now, once the name is approved, the real legal process begins. This is where you work with a notary. In Indonesia, a notary is not optional. They are a key legal authority in company formation. The notary drafts your deed of establishment, which is your official company constitution document. This document includes your company structure, shareholders, business purpose, capital structure, and governance rules. Now here's where most people fail. They treat the notary step as a formality. But in reality, this document defines everything about your company operations. If it is wrong, your entire registration process can be delayed. So make sure your business activity, ownership structure, and capital plan are all correct before signing anything. After the notary prepares your deed, it is submitted to the Ministry of Law and Human Rights for approval. Once approved, your company becomes legally recognized. But we are not done yet. Now comes one of the most important systems in Indonesia business setup. I2N. The OSS system. OSS stands for Online Single Submission. This is the National Business Licensing Platform. Through OSS, you will register your company and obtain your NIB, which is your business identification number. Think of NIB as your master business license. Without it, you cannot operate legally, open bank accounts or hire employees properly. Now here's a simple example. Imagine Jake wants to open a consulting company in Jakarta. He completes his notary process, gets approval, and then enters OSS. He registers his company details and receives his NIB. At that moment, his business becomes officially active in the Indonesian system. But here's the problem many foreign entrepreneurs face. They think NIB is enough. It is not. Depending on your business activity, you may also need additional operational licenses. For example, tourism businesses, construction companies, and food-related businesses often require extra approvals. Now let's move to taxation, which is extremely important. Once your company is registered, you will receive a tax identification number called NPWP Toto. This is mandatory for all companies. Without it, you cannot legally operate or file taxes. Indonesia has a corporate tax system that applies to company profits, and there are also VAT rules for certain goods and services. The exact tax obligations depend on your business size and sector. Now here's where it gets interesting. Many new entrepreneurs overcomplicate taxes in Indonesia. But in reality, once your accountant sets up your system properly, monthly compliance becomes manageable and predictable. Next step is opening a corporate bank account. This step requires your company documents, NIB, tax number, and identification documents of shareholders. Most major Indonesian banks support foreign-owned companies, but the process can take time due to compliance checks. Now let's talk about something very important for foreigners. Work permits and visas. If you are a foreign director or actively working in Indonesia, you may need a KIDAS, which is a temporary stay permit. There is a specific investor KIDAS option that allows company owners to legally live and manage their business in Indonesia. This is where many people get confused. They think company ownership automatically gives residency. It does not. You must apply separately for immigration status. Now let's connect everything in a simple flow so far. First, choose business activity and KBLI code. Second, decide your company structure, usually PTPMA for foreigners. Third, reserve your company name. Fourth, work with a notary to create legal documents. Fifth, get approval from the Ministry of Law and Human Rights. Sixth, register in OS and obtain your NIB. Seventh, get your tax number NPWPPI. Eighth, open your corporate bank account. Ninth, apply for additional licenses if needed. And 10th, handle immigration if you are working in the country. Now here's a powerful insight most guides do not explain clearly. Indonesia is not just about registration. It is about compliance rhythm. That means ongoing reporting, tax filing, and license maintenance. For example, every company must submit regular reports depending on activity. If you ignore this, even a properly registered company can face penalties or suspension. So long-term success is not just about setup. It is about consistency. Now let's talk about costs and timelines. Company setup in Indonesia usually takes a few weeks if everything is smooth. But delays can happen if documents are incomplete or business activities require extra approvals. Costs vary widely depending on whether you use legal consultants, notary services, and licensing assistants. Foreign-owned companies are more expensive to set up than local companies, but they also give full legal control in many industries. Now here's the final key point. The biggest advantage of starting a company in Indonesia is market access. You are entering one of the fastest growing digital and consumer economies in Southeast Asia. Whether your business is tech, tourism, consulting, or e-commerce, the growth potential is massive. But success depends on doing it correctly from day one. So let's quickly summarize everything. You start by choosing the correct business activity and structure. Then you go through legal naming and notary setup. Then you register your company officially through government systems. Then you secure tax and licensing compliance. And finally, you handle banking and immigration if needed. If you follow these steps correctly, you can build a fully legal scalable business in Indonesia without unnecessary delays or legal issues. And here is the most important takeaway. Most people fail not because Indonesia is difficult, but because they rush or skip compliance steps. If you move carefully and follow the system, it becomes very predictable and very powerful for long-term business growth. If this guide helped you understand the full process clearly, make sure to like this video, leave a comment with your questions, and subscribe for more step-by-step international business guides. You are now much more prepared than most beginners entering the Indonesian market. And that already gives you a major advantage.